try and remember the times that I've spent with my grandfather in his music sittings. I was very young, but I started very young any which ways. Like I started working with Batsa when I was 16. If I,
Wow.
after 10th grade, I did Aashiq when I was 20.
Oh my
So
God.
yes, it was back then. So I think so. Just the subconsciously, I was so tuned in because of him. I've seen Mr. Guy coming and bringing the scratch songs, or I remember him excited. I was very young. I remember him excited about Chandini doing well. These are these images in my head. Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge when it came. Tujhe Dekha To Ye Jana Sanam. When he wrote that, I remember the euphoria around it on the premiere night. So those are my childhood core memories, which I hold to myself, very closely. I remember Gunmaster is not a franchise. Firstly, it's a fresh film off the table. The music is completely fresh in terms of there are no remakes and recreations and nothing happening from Himesh's point of view, except for uh, you might you might see the all the tracks. Actually, all the tracks are completely fresh. On the movie. So it's not that they're going to hear a rehash of any of Himesh and Imran's old songs in this movie. But we're just hoping that the songs that will come out would be as good or as loved by the audience the way it used to be loved before, or at least the love they've shown in my earlier music, be it all the other songs that I've done. I mean, I don't call blazing guns action only, right? It's just pulling guns, blazing it is not purely action, right? From in my standards, action definition is way different, which you'll get to see in Gunmaster. So you'll definitely see him do action which you've not seen him done before, technically. But from a layman point of view, if I kind of want to say that listen, Amarapan also used blazing guns, things like that, fair, I get that. But this is purely very different kind of action that you're going to see him do, coming from there.
We've been really spoilt rotten over the years for having some of the most finest filmmakers on our platform. And the filmmaker that I'm joined with today, as I was saying to him before we started our interview, that we kind of have grown up watching his movies and we've grown up listening and jamming to his songs. I shared earlier how a song from Table Number 21 called O Sajna actually became the anthem of my first heartbreak. Um, and we used to watch his films like this when we were kids, and now we're samne se enjoying on the celluloid. And that is, of course, the very amazing Aditya Dutt. So, Aditya, first of all, thank you so much for joining me on
Thank
Filme
you,
Shilmy.
thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
It's so great to have you, and I feel like this really feels like a hat tip to the years gone by, and that also leads me to Gunmaster G9, your upcoming film. Um, After 20 years, Imran Hashmi, Aditya Dutt, and Himesh Reshammiya are coming back together. It began with Aashiq, but now it's literally about, action. And I think it's just so interesting how this whole journey of all three of yous has really emerged. Let's talk a bit a trip down memory lane about 20 years of this collaboration, and especially
Right.
now that Imran has really come out of the shadows and is emerged and is getting so much love for Vadapan too, which I'm so happy for. Would love to know about how this synergy has evolved over time.
I was just saying the other day, actually, honestly, after Ashik, we guys have tried working together a couple of times. But I keep on telling Imran the same thing that every time you were supposed to put a movie on flow, something or the other would just fall apart. Sadly, twice it happened, and the last couple of years it's happened at least 2 to 3 times that we were just so close to shooting a film, and something or the other would not work out. Like uh, the first, the producer ran away, the second, my script ran away, and the third, something happened. So again, we would laugh about it and we would say that. And while that is happening, obviously we're shooting other things, we're getting into other films. Like he's doing so much, and I was doing Table 21, I was doing my series, and Commando came my way, and we were just going on running our own lives. And again, in the middle, trying to connect. And we kept on saying, when the time's right, it'll just happen. It'll just happen. And and now I think so, just unknowingly, again, everyone just came back together. It wasn't, I kid you not, it wasn't a conscious effort that we've kind of put in. It was a subconscious energy that was running, I believe, because there was a story which I was just sitting, like dwelling on, and I happened to tell Imran about the story, and he said, "You know what? I like it. Let's try working on this." And then when I started writing it, music. See, music has always been a very big part of every film of mine. Be it even if I'm doing, like I said, a thriller like Table Number 21, I have a Man Mera and I have a O Sajna. Even if I'm doing a Commando, there is a Kya Milawa of Arijit, and there is a Knock Knock Tera Baap Aaya, which became a rage in its own space because it complemented the genre of the film that I was doing. Um, and so again, music being a thorough thing. Uh, Again, this particular film and the situations that was coming up while I was writing it, I somehow knew no one better than Himesh who could justify the melodies, the emotion that I need to convey in that much screen time of storytelling. And I just happened to pick up the phone on him, and then he says, "You know what? Let's just do it." And I'm telling you, just then when it fell, everything just started falling into place, and it just started happening. And we all just got really excited, and Gunmaster G9 just happened.
Oh, what a beautiful, I mean, how lovely. And I think it's interesting because somehow Gunmaster G9 is a beautiful I would say like it really is an amalgamation of your journey so far, because romantic thriller has been a genre of yours, I think, for the longest amount
Yeah.
of time. You know?
Actually, like I guess romance has been it's a inbuilt human emotion, no matter who you are,
Yeah.
and especially with, so it automatically, and that's something which I kind of it reflects in everything that I kind of do. Even if it's a thriller, there has to be a part of romance in that space. So, and plus Indian cinema, I just purely, especially in, or actually, I'm saying it's a world language. Yeah, romance is a world language. It's something which I can still understand someone saying that I don't like gore and action, and it's too, but there's romance is the basic human emotion that I don't think so anyone can run away from. Um, and thus, when Gunmaster happened, it being an action film, I kept on telling everyone asked me, what is Gunmaster? How do you describe it? And I start from saying, yes, there's action, but then there's romance, there's music, there's drama. So if you tell me to put it in a kind of a slot, I don't want to just call it and put in it in any one particular category. It's a full blown emotional masala Bollywood movie, which is entertaining, emotional, touch you at places. It might make you cry at places. There'll be action at places, and it'll be a fun emotional ride all over.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is what I meant to say is because, romantic thriller in the sense that, like you said, there is a culmination of every different genre in your films, but I think there is that sense of love gone wrong where almost there's borderline obsession, in
Right.
your films. And there's always like an antagonistic force that's in your movies, which is very interesting. You've almost like, I remember watching Dil Diya Hai, right? And it's
Yeah.
interesting because that was also about like it had to do with crime and gang
Yes,
lords, and,
yes, yes, yes.
romance almost, an innocent, women having to bear the brunt of bad people,
Right,
actually.
of course,
So,
of
and I
course.
feel like this seems to be like a running theme, I think, in your films as well. And Gunmaster G9 also seems to kind of have that as well, a little bit.
It does. It does. It does. It does have a very, like everyone knows, Genelia is playing a part
Yeah.
of the movie, and I'm so excited for her and Par and all these guys. And yes, like I said, the love and that emotion is the central conflict of all the action around happening around it and for it. So yes, I guess it's my nature that kind of brings in, it comes into subconsciously whatever I do or write or I make, because like I said, romance music is a big part of my life. So that's very important for me to pick that on screen also.
I think also when I watched your film Crack, actually, that's when a penny dropped in my mind that actually, when we look at Squid Game, um, another filmmaker in your in the 2000s era that really had these twisted sort of game sort of storytelling per se, where it was you lie you die type situations.
Yeah,
Was Soham. Soham, who made Carl and Luck.
yeah, yeah, of course. I don't remember. Yeah,
And table number 21, Crack, there's often this sense of Jaan pe bazi khelna.
I know, I know, I know.
And I would love to know the origins of where that trope has come from, actually, for you
So
as
I
a
tell you what happened. Table 21 was a story that I was emotionally driven by that story because if you remember, it had to do with the whole agenda of that film was the crux was the ragging part of it.
yeah,
And I remember in that phase, I had a cousin whose kid was really badly ragged coincidentally. And it was really running. And coincidentally, the story had come to me at that part of my life. I don't know why. It just sometimes things happen, and
yeah.
we would we're dealing with that, and then someone just narrated this idea to me back then, and I said, you know what, I want to do this purely for that particular climax of the film. And because I could again feel the pain, I could understand the seriousness of bullying, ragging, and a human going through that. And and at the same time, I did not wanted to put it out there as because I'm not a preacher filmmaker as
No,
such. I don't
no, definitely not.
I don't like narrating. I don't want cinema. I'm not one of those ones who believe that cinema needs to preach, right? Cinema can be there just for purely your entertainment, having a good time, art, enjoy the beauty, enjoy the music, and that's what at least I get drawn to. But just that particular emotion was so strong for me, and somewhere for people to understand the seriousness of it. But I was also at the same time wondering, which is what is the most entertaining way to narrate it to the audience, and thus table number 21 came back then. And back then, live gamings were just opening up. It wasn't, if you remember, 2013 wasn't so what we are today
No,
of
definitely not. Yeah.
like Big Boss was purely in London back then, if you remember.
Yeah, Big
It,
Brother. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Big Brother, sorry, used to be back there in London,
Yeah.
and it wasn't so big worldwide.
हाँ मतलब
Um,
इतना डिजिटल सेंसेशन नहीं था उस वक्त
नहीं
यार.
था, मतलब people didn't know, were not that open about live gamings and things like that. But I was aware about Big Brother because of my exposure to London. I was shooting quite a lot there,
Yeah.
all that jazz. So that time we just put, I was just trying to put that into this. So it was just this new thing opening up. And but then I felt it was too soon for like the film did extremely well for me, as well as the box office. It did a very decent number for the budgets we made it in, and the kind of box office it did,
Hmm.
the critical acclaim, the way it was received for the music, thriller, everything. So I was very happy for the outcome. But it just got stuck in my head that I think so. we could explore that space more, and thus I came up with Crack years later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That the game might work this time, but this time, to be honest, the game was so overdone in terms of it's so available on OTT televisions and everything. It lost its cinematic beauty on screen.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of, because even Squid Games had come recently during that time. Squid Game was a phenomena. So I just feel by the time Crack came, because obviously we had started shooting way before, but by the time Crack came, that concept and the idea was done was just overexposed all over.
Yeah.
uh, and but having said that, it automatically drew me into that, and wanted to do action and some wild crazy things in it. So yeah, that's how I kind of, and again, a genre which it's not been fully done by me. As a filmmaker, you feel that you want to do something new, you're getting redundant doing the same thing. So I guess action, thriller, live gamings, it just came to me from that thought process.
It's so beautiful. But I'll tell you one thing though that I find really amazing. And I want to talk about the musicality of your films because that's a really big segment that we need to tap into. Um,
Right.
but it's interesting because actually none of your films, right? I mean, barring perhaps Commando, you've often not opted for uh the major stars, of that time.
Yeah.
You often I feel like somehow you've often gravitated towards new actors, fresher talents. Um, I would like to use the word underdog here.
Yeah.
Because if we look at Emraan Hashmi and Himesh Reshammiya's journey, and I guess
Right.
yours as well for that matter, there's a sense of underdog of a theme, right? Because I remember very clearly in the 2000s, Himesh Reshammiya was mocked a lot because of his singing style, because of the obviously well, the nasal singing and all of that, which quite frankly I loved him for. I still
Right.
have his cassettes as well.
Yeah.
Um, again, the sort of nature and the content that you were making was not something which the typical Bollywood circles would have made.
Yeah.
Imran again was quite fresh on the scene at that time, so was Sonu, so was Tanushri. So,
Yeah.
again, I would love to know whether, this is something that has naturally just happened where you've gravitated towards this, or do you think it's just because the choices that were there and, that was just
So
the need of the time?
there are two factors to it. Is that obviously we were when we started doing that, we were very young, and there were very few people who were ready to kind of back then fund films on lesser experienced young boys. Being the captain of the ship. So obviously that was one of the reasons. At the same time, I guess I tend to do these movies because that's one place where at least I say the script that I want to narrate. So I keep on telling everyone, my whole team, that I want to make films that I'm convinced of. Be it could be wrong or it could be correct. That's for the audience to decide. But I don't want to make films from another person's perspective, which you tend to happen when you get into uh, you know uh, like in today's day and age. You're pitching scripts to a corporate giant, and there are 10 people giving you suggestions on those scripts, and then it's filtered through them, then it goes to another person, then it goes to the third person, which is a particular process, which fair, it's a worldwide process. But I just feel in that somewhere the voice that you started from, to safeguard that voice is very tough. To protect the voice from so many other voices, it is a battle for the director and the writer when we're going through that process. Because we know what we want, we believe we know what we want to say. There is a belief that we've gone out there to say that particular story in that particular way, but then it's kind of comes and it kind of changes. So the there's always what do you say? It's an ongoing battle that you kind of have to deal with, and it's a part of the business that you can't you can't complain about. At the same time, you have to choose the battles that you want to win, and so thus the underdog journey or things that we did, I did I did wherever I got the chance to do what I wanted to do, than trying to do what the other person wants to do. So just the difference makes the choices less, because you're just trying to do what you want to do, and then you could be wrong, but at least I'm doing what I want to do and what I want to make, or what film I want to shoot. And I guess that's very important for me to enjoy the process of filmmaking.
Oh, beautiful. I think that's definitely what the 20 years of growth and evolvement as a filmmaker
Yeah,
has definitely achieved, is that sense of
yeah,
saying what you want to say without having to rely on the corporate giants per se, isn't it? Really?
yeah. I mean, like, you obviously need the corporate giants
Of course.
to support you. I just don't want to lose my voice in the process,
Yes,
or
correct.
what I want to narrate, because obviously because of them is why we get such a big window and these screens and so many people watching it. So I'm not saying that I don't want them. I definitely want them. And more than at the same time, the compliments that I want to give these corporate giants is that they've given work and opportunities to so many people that was not there back then. At least now there are not 10 people who are trying to make films, there are hundreds who can make a movie. Otherwise, earlier the window was the box was so small, they've come and they've broken the box. So at one side, we're really grateful and amazing for the opportunities that so much talent is getting because of these corporate giants. But at the same time, as a filmmaker, just want to protect your voice through this journey. So like I said, now you get an op- so you need to wait for the right opportunity with these corporate giants to narrate what you want to narrate through them.
Absolutely, no, spot on. Now, it's interesting because the timing of Gunmaster G9 is, I don't know if it was planned or divine timing, call it
Nothing.
that.
Just it
Honestly, like, it,
was planned, to be honest.
yeah, I don't think it was, to be honest, because kabhi kabhi
Nothing.
pata chalta
Zero.
hai.
I promise you, we have zero planning, zero calculations. We were just making the film and saying we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of people were asking me, like, why is it that Avarapan 2 has done so well, and suddenly now the floodgates have opened for Imran? But I think the thing is, Imran has always been there. He's always been this really resilient actor, even when films of his that have not done well, and he's had some pretty bad
Yeah,
films
of
as
course it
well
did.
in his career.
We've all had
Right,
all.
but still he's
Yeah.
been resilient with his craft and he's been consistent, and I think that's what it was. But also I think it's the music, but then I think it's this also spirituality in the film about, like I'm not,
Yeah.
the spirituality, and then there's also that sense of nostalgia, and I think nostalgia is, I think, the lifeline of cinema right now, because
100%.
half the
It
films are
is.
relying on nostalgic factors, man.
It's not a good thing, to be honest, at the same time, because yeah, it's not a good thing. Yeah, we got to do better as filmmakers. I talk about myself too in it. Not that I've achieved anything as of now, but having said that, we just need to be more honest, cautious about what we're making, and try and up the game. Yeah, in terms of entertain and narrate stories that people enjoy, get entertained, feel, music, all those things. Yeah, means we somehow just it's dying in the process in some kind of a energy. All these elements are getting lost,
Yeah.
and once in a blue moon, someone picks it out and brings it in front of you. But that thing needs to change. It can't be once in a blue moon. It should be done more often.
Yes. Now, that's exactly what it is. But I think Gunmaster G9, I don't think, very interestingly, whilst, of course, all three of you, as in Himesh, you, and Imran, are coming back together, But there's only one nostalgic factor for me when I heard this teaser, and that's the song which I love. I believe that was referenced was Dil Diya Hai's Afsana Bana Ke Bhool Na Jana.
Yeah, but it's not that song. That's what I keep on telling everyone. It's
Yeah, I
not
don't know
that.
why. Why is yeah?
And
Okay,
if
so
you've been saying that, it's just the word is Afsana. It's not even the beats are not even any close to what it was. Even if when you hear it, I don't know why. So honestly, we keep on telling everyone, you know what? Gunmaster is not a franchise. Firstly, it's a fresh film off the table. The music is completely fresh in terms of there are no remakes and recreations and nothing happening from Himesh's point of view, except for you might see the all the tracks. Actually, all the tracks are completely fresh. On the movie, so it's not that they're going to hear a rehash of any of Himesh and Imran's old songs in this movie. But we're just hoping that the songs that will come out would be as good or as loved by the audience the way it used to be loved before, or at least the love they've shown in my earlier music, be it all the other songs that I've done. So we purely come from there. But yes, I know that they feel home because of Ashik and the voices and the faces and things like that. But apart from the faces and the creators, there's nothing else that we've taken from the past.
right.
We've tried and made everything from scratch, something new for the generation which already followed us, as well as the new gen that's coming up.
So, I'll tell you something. Us cinema goers and journalists are really greedy. Okay. We हमें एक चीज से पेट नहीं भरता है. And the teaser has left me thinking about I wonder what the story is. Is it gonna be one man takes on the systematic, gang warfare for a girl? Is it like Avarapan? Because a lot of people have also been, I'm sure you probably heard about that as well. But I think I mean, I know this might sound like a really bad question, but I think just to clear the air and just to kind of
Right,
get
of
your
course.
take on it, what really distinguishes this from the other actions that Imran has done previously? And what do you think really stands out the most about Gunmaster G9 as well?
So I'll tell you one thing. I personally believe Imran's not done action till now as such.
True,
That's
that's also true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got a
my
point.
take. I'm like, I don't call that. I don't call blazing guns action only, right? It's just holding guns, blazing it is not purely action, right? From in my standards, action definition is way different, which you'll get to see in Gunmaster. So you'll definitely see him do action which you've not seen him done before, technically. But from a layman point of view, if I kind of want to say that listen, Amarapan also used blazing guns, things like that, fair, I get that. But this is purely very different kind of action that you're going to see him do coming from there. And what stands out between Avarapan and Gunmaster, the whole template, the whole character of Ishwar, the the his romance, everything is it's way different. Like the shades and what he's fighting for for gun in Gunmaster and what his journey in Avarapan are completely two contrasting journeys altogether. So yeah, it'll be it's a color of its own. We're completely based in the heartland of the country, Rishikesh, Uttarakhand, Gurgaon, where Aravan is a very western, Bangkok and uh,
Mm. It's a globe-trotting, more of a globe-trotting
yeah,
experience. Yeah.
it's a very different. As I said, it's a very different look, feel, conversations. Everything is very different, including the action. Actions north south. I mean, like it's that pulls apart.
Right. Spirituality is a big angle here that you're exploring, and you've never really delved into that, which I'm quite surprised by, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
but actually, you know what? It's not that I dwell into anything. It's the environment that kind of brings things into the film. when the film is based in Rishikesh and Haridwar, in such a holy place, automatically the environment kind of comes into the cinema that you're shooting. uh, and and there is a reason why the film is based there, or why these characters are there, or and if they are from there, they have certain beliefs where you're in such a holy place, and so I guess it just unknowingly came into the film. It wasn't like a conscious effort, like put in. Like I keep on saying that everything needs to flow, and that's it kind of brings itself into the script when you're writing it, and the characters lend you towards it, the environment lends you towards it, everything kind of pushes you towards it automatically.
Beautiful. Now, the final segment is music. And music has been a very integral part of your films. In fact, I would say that there are actually additional characters in your films,
Yeah,
really. And it's interesting because I would class you as amongst the holy trinity of romantic thrillers or, darker romantic films in the 2000s with Mohit Suri and Anurag Basu back then.
yeah.
Because
Well,
I'd put you in that
yeah,
same
you're right.
legacy.
Really appreciate that.
And it makes me think about why is your music so good? But then it's not surprising because your grandfather, I believe, is what, Anand Bakshi Saab?
But yes, yes, he was my
I mean,
grandfather, he was my mom's dad.
I mean, wow. First of all,
Yeah, yeah. I was blessed to be born in his family, and whatever music I have in me, or the sense of music I have in me, is definitely because of him. Because of the exposure I got with him, because of I was very close to him. I've interacted very closely with him. He's the reason I'm in the industry. He's the one who made the first call to Mr. Mahesh Bhatt to ask him to take me under him, to work under him. So I guess I owe a lot to him, and I somewhere always feel that he's always there guiding me, or uh, there's I don't know. It's a very intuitive thing that I kind of, when I hear a melody or I start writing a song with the lyricist or Himesh or any music director that I sit with, I somehow I try and remember the times that I spent with my grandfather in his music sittings. I was very young, but I started very young any which ways. Like I started working with Batsa when I was 16. If I,
wow.
after 10th grade, I did Aashiq when I was 20.
Oh my
So
God.
yes, it was back then. So I think so. Just the subconsciously, I was so tuned in because of him. I've seen Mr. Guy coming and bringing the scratch songs, or I remember him excited. I was very young. I remember him excited about Chandini doing well. These are these images in my head. Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge when it came. Uh, Tujhe Dekha To Ye Jana Sanam. When he wrote that, I remember the euphoria around it on the premiere night. So those are my childhood core memories, which I hold to myself, very closely. I remember Saudagar's song being played in my living room, and I was at the other end of the house, and that whistle had started. Do you remember that? Because uh,
Ilu Ilu.
Ilu Ilu, and that whistle starts before that.
Do 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 do. Yeah.
So I have this such a clean memory of me being in the other room, and that whistle being played loudly. The music was being played in the living room by Mr. Guy and my grandfather. They were hearing the first recording, and I came running and saying, "What is this whistle?" And then they made me hear the song. But I was this kid roaming around. But I'm saying all these things were happening around me, and I guess that's where my music at least comes from, when I kind of get into the music and select songs.
Wow. And now I'm assuming that the culmination of all those memories have really been poured into Gunmaster
Yeah,
G9. I
yeah.
mean, I don't want to put all the eggs in one basket because I'm sure you're going to make films after this as well. But
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. Yeah. No, but we've worked really hard for Gunmaster's music. We're definitely not taking the audience for granted. We're not taking ourselves for granted. We're really working very hard to first somewhere enjoy what we're doing and loving what we're doing. At the same time, hoping that we get the same love from the audience and they love the same music that we've given them before.
It's a mammoth of a task. And the reason why I'm saying it's a mammoth of a task, because suddenly there's been a rise in action. I feel like there's been so many variations of Animal like that have come out. And I loved Animal. I loved Dhurandhar.
Me
But
too. I love it.
I'm just getting a little just agitated though, because everyone is trying to do a copy and paste of the same thing.
Yeah, no,
Wahi white blood, bearded man, long hair, bas.
no, you won't see that. You won't see that in this.
I was gonna say, because it's a difficult territory, isn't it? When there's already one sort of genre doing well, for then your film
Yeah,
to
yeah.
also come out.
We've I guess we've got our own space of action and reasons of action. I truly believe the reason of action needs to be purely there for the man to fight those many people. So I guess maintaining that, we've tried to have our own voice than trying to do something which has already happened with great success. So yeah, it's you. I don't think so. You'll see that kind of similarities.
Hmm.
It'll have its own beautiful thing going on in Gunmaster.
Your conviction is saying a lot, and I think I mean, I've always really engaged and really been entertained by your films, as disturbing as they may be sometimes. And I think Gunmaster G9 really is a hat tip to it. I think to that incredible legacy that all three of you, Imran and Himesh, have created
Thanks.
over time, and an entire generation has grown up listening to it. Not to make you sound old or to add an age spin to it, but it just is such a rich legacy. And I think all of us, this is definitely a love letter for all of us, I think. So I think
Thank
I'm
you
really
so much.
excited for
I
that.
really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the love, and I just hope uh, it gets delivered the right way, and you guys like it and enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, look, Aditya, thank you so much for joining me on Film Shilmy.
Thank
It's
you so much,
been
buddy.
a
Thank you so much.
pleasure and an honor, and wishing you all the very best for Gunmaster G9.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Definitely, definitely. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Let's say bye.